So welcome back to another episode of Dusty. This episode is going to be about doing up this old 2H and hopefully turboing it. This is another one. This is a late model block that I'm replacing with the one that's in the car now. The one in the car I did do a fair bit of work to, but it has a fair bit of blow-by, and this one came up for cheap. So I'm going to do this one up, give it a paint, put new seals through it, and hopefully put a turbo on it. So I've already started pulling the motor down. It's the same motor that came with that gearbox. I just got them at different times. It's all the way down to the rear main. I've got a new rear main coming. I've got a new clutch coming. I've got all the paint for it. I've got a new oil pressure relief valve coming because it made like 150 pound of oil pressure. Flywheel's been machined already, so we're just going to get into work stripping this down, and then we'll give it a paint, clean it up, and make it look pretty. So I've skipped ahead again and I've stripped the rest of the block. Pretty much everything is out. Intake's off. Oil cooler's still on there. I've got to work out if I want to take that off or not. It's a pain in the ass job. But the rest of it's pretty much stripped. I just got to clean the block, degrease it again, and then put some primer on it in the next few days, paint it, and then we can start putting it back together. So I've got the intake apart, got the throttle body off, and I've got some petrol in a engine gun, and I'm just shoving it up in there, trying to get all the blow-by and skunk out of the intake. Makes it real nice and clean. So I've cleaned up and taped off the intake manifold, the engine mounts, and the actual venturi. Now I'm just going to hit them with a bit of primer. They're going to get done in black or blue, yet to decide, and this is going to get done in like a aluminium silver sort of colour. So that's the primer on them, just a nice coat. I didn't do it too heavy, I'm only going to do one coat of it. But then this is the silver or aluminium that goes on next. It's quite nice, it's not shiny, it's not sort of out there, but it is a nice sort of colour. So that's what all this is going to get painted in. So I've got the sump off and I've started stripping it. There's a fair bit of rust and crappy paint on it, so clean the inside out, taking the silicone off the most of the silicone off the mating surface, and now I'm just going to finish hitting it with the wire wheel. So I got some new Welch plugs for the block to replace the old ones I took out to flush the cooling, but I've also got some aviation sealant to put in and around it to seal them a bit better. But now I'm just going to do that, whack them in, and have some new Welch plugs. So I figured it'd be a bit boring seeing painting all episode, so I've skipped ahead and I've painted the block and all the accessories on the block. So oil cooler, timing cover, all that's painted in aluminium. Side covers are black and the block is painted in Ford blue. So I've got the intake here, and I've also got some new steel gaskets and a bit of aviation sealant that I'm going to put on the floor. The new gaskets, metal ones came off it, and metal ones just happened to be the ones I bought. They'll sit on there nicely, and I'll put some aviation sealant just a little bit around them because it's going to be boosted, just to hold it in a little bit better hopefully. So I'm going to do the rear main now. I'm going to pull the actual seal housing off. Got something to pry in there and pull it off, and then we'll replace the seal. So I got it off. Now I just got to pull the seal out of it. Probably just get a punch in behind there and hold it up and whack it out. we go. So I'm just here cleaning up the block side, getting rid of the old gasket, but I thought I may as well get rid of the bearing in here for the new clutch while everything's out. So I've got some bread here. Spark plug fits in there pretty well, so I'm just going to start punching some bread in and try and push it out. So I got it out. You can see how much bread got compacted in there. Big lump of that. Now we can put the new one in. So that's the new one in there now. I just smacked it in with a hammer, chucked the old one out, and now we can put the rear main back on. So I've got all the seal in. It's all in there. Grease in where the spring is to hold the spring in. Now I'm going to put some of this Ultimate Black on it, because this is meant for really high oil places, and I didn't get a gasket for it, so I'm going to run some of that around it, put it on, and then tighten it up once it's dry. So the motor's pretty much back together. So the sump's on. That's all been a few days to dry now. The spigot bearing's in. I've got the backing plate on, which is all nice, repainted. Now I'm going to start putting some clutch stuff in. I've got a new heavy duty clutch there, machine flywheel underneath, new throwout bearings, so it'll all be new. So I'm going to put this flywheel on now. Sitter in there. So here's the spec sheet. Flywheel to crankshaft is about 90 foot-pounds. That's what I've got this set to. So now we can just torque down the flywheel. So the pressure plate and disc is on there. I've lined it up all in there, visual and with the tool. There's Loctite on the bolts, so now I'm just going to torque them down. So I've managed to get the gearbox and transfer up here. Now I'm going to put the bell housing on, put that on there. Now we try and get these two back together, which could be a bit of a challenge, but we'll find out. So the 40's in the shed now. Just went for the last drive with the 4-speed and the old motor. Definitely not going to miss it. But now it's time to strip this all down, pull the old Driveline out, put the new one in and measure up some drive shafts. So I've got the list of stuff I need to do, roughly in order. Drive shafts, engine mount, all the lines, everything that's connected to the engine. Pull the radiator out, and then we can hopefully pull the motor out. This is where I'm at. Got all the exhaust off, radiator out, engine mounts disconnected, tail shafts out. It's almost ready to pull out. I've just got to disconnect some linkages, take this one off the hoist, play around with a few other things, and it's pretty much ready to pull out. So 40 and 60 engine mounts are different apparently. Probably should have thought of that before, but this is the power steering one off the old 2H. It's all painted and pretty. I'm pretty sure that doesn't fit. The other side didn't fit. This one looks longer, things in different spots, so I think I might have to take this one off and put 47 mounts on the 60 motor. And here's the new girl. So it's pretty much stripped at the moment. There's nothing except the engine mounts to put it in. Starter motor, all that's going to go in later. See, there's no injectors. I got those sent off. They should be coming back this week, next week. And that's it. 60 series 5-speed in. Did do a bit of damage getting it in. That's just because of this nut. This was just a bit too long and it was hitting on the firewall. Pain in the ass to get in this was. But it's all in. Original cross member mounts up because it's a late model chassis. Pretty happy with that. So I'm going to call this the end of the video here. There's still a fair few parts to come for this. I've still got to get the radiator fixed. I've got the injectors still coming. So I'm just going to end the video here. And next episode on this motor will probably be turbo and a few other things like that.